Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wareham Finance Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 30th, 6:30 PM. And we'll begin by calling the meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please, with the clerk?
Far right, Jody Smith, Norma Scoggin, Vice Chair David Hurd, Chairman Bernie Pigeon, myself, Jerry Stefanski, Matt Rose, and Don Camarano.
Thank you. And the first issue we're coming on, we had some discussion last week, and that's relevant to Articles 23 and 24. And the steering committee, Diane, how are you this evening?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Very good. Welcome. Can you come up, please, Diane?
Sure.
This is Diane. She's chairman of the steering committee that is examining, per the charter instructions, the use of the Diga School. And I asked you here this evening mainly to assure you of support, and two, have you resolved how are you impressed by some of these? There's been a lot of question about it. One is 24, is that this here report from the steering committee. Are you?
Just gonna grab my glasses.
Okay.
Sorry, but I'm blind. Good.
You are actually charged by town meeting of last year to report by this coming October's meeting. Now, how does this interfere or disrupt your process?
Well, before I answer any questions, I have to tell you, when you and I spoke, which was last week, I had already had an agenda out for last week's meeting, and I didn't have the opportunity to put any of this information on until this week's meeting, which, as you know, begins in about a half an hour. So in effect, I'm not really sure that I can speak to the steering committee as the chairperson when we have not discussed it at our meeting yet.
That's reasonable. You aren't charged with making a report for this town meeting. The difficulty with the article as I read it, and this is purely my opinion, and fellow members of the committee can express theirs, and it says to see if the town will hear the report of the Diga Steering Committee. Now, words are very important, and the courts have ruled that like a will means something you will do. And you actually don't have to do it until town meeting accepts this, should it come to the floor.
That is, so, again, I don't wanna, as you and I discussed last week, I'm new to this. We started this group, well, actually, other people started the group, and I was invited back last year, the informal group. And as you all, I assume, know, the informal group has been working since, I think, May of last year on this project. I got into it in August, and then obviously we progressed to the town meeting articles, and then the committee was formed, and I am now the chair. So there's a lot of overlap between the informal group and the steering committee. And I think part of the problem that we're all having, not this committee and the informal group, is because we're all so new to this, we don't want to break any rules. You and I discussed this last week during our phone call, that I am very hesitant to break rules. I don't want anyone to ever be able to look at the committee or the informal group and say, what exactly are you guys up to? We want to be very transparent. So we've been very careful to avoid any kind of open meeting violation. When the informal group meets, a lot of us skip it because we don't want to ever have the wrong amount of people at an informal group where we're discussing the DECIS, but we're not discussing steering committee business. So I think what has happened is that has led to the illusion to outside people, including this committee, that we're not working together. We have been very carefully working together, trying to not break any rules along the way. So I am very familiar with everything the informal committee is doing. The informal committee has been up to date with the steering committee in every legal way possible, mostly by the agenda and minutes. They attend when they can, but they've never been a part of the actual steering committee. So on tonight's agenda is, we're gonna discuss and vote to include, the informal group, which I am also a part of, to work hand in hand with the steering committee, helping to prepare the report, because we didn't know that we could do that. We didn't do it at the beginning.
I'm
So
not sure,
does all of this make sense?
you are a steering committee that is set up by particular. by
Correct,
local
and they
appointed
will
by the
not be
selectmen.
part of the steering committee.
Well, when you held a meeting to discuss it, you have to post the meeting for one.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're only your committee, you can have anybody in the audience speak, of course, but only your committee is one that is charged with making a report and all. Now,
Absolutely.
as far as you're interacting with anybody else, it's your committee, you're in charge of it, you're the chairman. However, you are charged by town meeting to perform a report by October.
Yep.
I am concerned, as many people are, this will sunset you now. In April 25th, you will report. Is it?
That's according to that, what's
it's
coming up
According
at
to the
town meeting.
Motion, it can't be changed because it's a petitioned article. You will report. Will this report sunset you?
So, first of all, again, I don't want to speak for the committee because we haven't even had this issue on our agenda yet. Well, it's on our agenda for tonight.
You're the chairperson.
And I can speak to it, and I just want to make sure that I make it very clear. I don't want to mislead anyone. That I would like to see the language that sundowns us, because I don't see that language in the original article.
It's on, well,
To present a report by the October town meeting.
that's your only charge.
That's your only charge. So if you present a report at the April 25th meeting, you presented your report before the October meeting.
Which is
It actually
fine.
doesn't say present a report. We have the language from fall 2021, and it says make recommendations.
Well, irrespective of what it says for that meeting,
Make recommendations.
everyone, including the attorney, says it will sunset at the October
I-
meeting.
I-
We don't disagree.
We don't want to do that on,
We definitely do not want to do that.
Well,
We
that's
don't
what we're trying to
anticipate
avoid.
sundowning. We don't anticipating ending the committee after the Springtown meeting. That would be crazy.
Well, irrespective of that, once you accomplish your charge, according to what we do and been doing for years, once you've accomplished your responsibilities, you're done.
That's not what their term says. Their term is listed as October
Please.
2022.
I'm going on other interpretations. As chairman, I have to do.
I think the point here is that by operation of law, you could, it sounds like you will, once you done your report, you'll be done. And that's not what you want, it's not what we want, so we're concerned about it.
I think we all want the same thing at the end of the day.
It's not a matter of choice, though, on our.
Oh, and I completely agree. I think that you have an interpretation, and I so far have an interpretation, and I need to get more opinion on exactly what it is. If any kind of, so if we went in and gave a report under, is it Article 5? Yes. Which we've been told we can do, correct? What
Whatever
is
allows it, yeah.
different, what is different from that article to this article? Is it the word will?
Will is
And the date.
defined in law as it's something you will do. Shall is something you may do, and you may choose not to do it.
You have that wrong. It's exactly the opposite. Shall is required by law. Will is inference that you choose.
And I have two lawyers sit on this committee, so I'm not
Well,
gonna go.
where are
I'm not-
we?
Well,
Okay,
I
Okay,
think
excuse me,
we,
let's stop, please. The only issue we are trying to resolve, as far as we're concerned, is if this is gonna sunset you.
I
That is the
completely
issue.
agree. I think
That's
we're
the
worried
issue.
about the same issue.
Yeah. And that's what we wanna resolve, because you
So-
can go up to the podium and say, this is inappropriate, we are unprepared to do so, and it's premature. And
But
also-
it's not premature if we go up under Article 5.
yes, it is. It still is. But this says you have to do it.
Oh, right, Article
says you have
5
to
does
do it.
not say I have to,
Article
it says I may.
You may.
You may.
Right.
Right.
May, it's the
And
difference
that's a
between may
choice.
and shall.
And if I'm correct, and there happens to be somebody who might be able to answer that question for me, is there any reason why I would not be allowed to give a preliminary report under Article 5?
Of course you can.
If you perhaps phrase it as preliminary.
Oh, it was definitely preliminary.
Well, that's what I mean. We
Yeah,
have to be-
there's no other way to
Again,
describe
as
it.
everybody says, it's language.
Oh, I agree. Oh, I
Okay.
agree. It would
Yeah.
have to have, it would have to be called preliminary.
We could amend it on the
But we
floor.
can amend on the floor,
No,
We just
no.
amended two articles into one.
so anyone can amend it.
Okay, enough. The resolution we're asked for.
I don't know what the question, I don't know how the question was answered, Claire, I'm sorry.
If you are giving a preliminary report under Article 5, then I don't believe, I would check with town council, but I don't believe that you would be sunsetted.
And,
Under the other article, you would be. And
Right,
that's been
but-
historically the way the town does to appointed committees. Once you give your report, you're done.
And I completely understand that. The question was, is there any reason why I would not be allowed to give a preliminary report under Article 5?
No, and John Delmeyer, I'm sure he must have told you, has
Absolutely.
reached out and has been given permission.
Absolutely.
And I did ask him that he needs to provide a written report, because that written report also has to go in
Yep.
the town report.
We're all
so-
scheduled to have it done by the date before you need it.
Yeah.
I think we're having it done a week before you need it.
The real concern that we have is, as a committee, is we make a recommendation to town meeting. And we don't want to make a recommendation that's going to be detrimental to you.
Well, and if I'm understanding what you just said, you don't want to vote yes to these articles because it will hurt us. But are any of
That's
you
what we
actually
believe.
gonna vote yes?
Well,
I mean,
Irrespective of that.
is that actually relevant? Because I don't
No,
think one of you is gonna vote yes.
I would be premature if I assume the vote of the committee.
I absolutely agree with that. I would never assume any vote of any committee, only my own vote. But,
Okay,
really.
then I think the issue's then resolved, as you say, if you give it under 5 as a preliminary, the language is such that you will not be sunsetted. And that's the concern we have. That's why I called you, spoke with you.
And I hope my explanation as to, you know, I have been very reticent. I am a very transparent person in my real life, and I want nothing but transparency as far as this committee goes, the steering committee. And because there are so many things going on with the informal, the steering committee, and then we also have started a nonprofit. So there's a lot going on, and we are just being as careful as we can.
And we just want to be assured that you're not going to disappear on us.
No, and
By-
we don't
by
want that
mistake.
either. There's
Yeah,
so
we
much
wanna
work
make
to
sure
do.
that by mistake, it doesn't happen.
We are gonna have a lot of information for this meeting, because the steering committee wasn't the beginning. Last May was the beginning. We've taken a lot of that information. We've gathered more information. We've looked at all the old information. Obviously, we're not taking anything and just dropping it in.
Very good.
Everything is being examined and worked on. And it's
Excellent.
our committee that's gonna present this. It's not the informal committee. This is
Very good.
us, and it's our vote that will put it on the agenda.
Excellent. But as I said, we just were kind of wanting clarification to be sure you don't inadvertently, through the
Sunset yourselves.
Through
best of
our-
intentions of
yes.
another group, get you sunsetted. As long as we're clear from that, we're fine. Because it is your
Well,
committee.
so
is-
you're all gonna vote yes?
So, to hear your report? Yes, of course.
Couldn't you
Yes,
just put an
yes.
article in the newspaper? Say this is the status?
Sure, you're the finance committee. I'm sure you get some extra bucks floating around.
No, we don't have extra bucks. We don't possess any, well, no, we do have an emergency fund.
that's right.
But we
We'd
save
love
that for
to
the
take
banquet
out a full
afterwards.
page ad in the Courier and the Weekly with our conclusions. That would be amazing.
If I
Matt?
may. So the steering committee will be set with a preliminary report for the Springtown meeting, not a full
Absolutely.
report. So that
Absolutely.
would make
Okay,
Article 23 null and void, is that
Correct.
correct?
they would have to.
Article-
Well, I'm
Article
not gonna
3 is-
speak
It's a
to,
petitioned article, so it'll appear anyway, and
Correct.
Claire has to call it.
I will not speak to
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Well, if you don't have the full report, that'll be,
Since
That's
this
what I
is
mean.
my article that we're talking about, can I join this conversation? Is that possible? Since
Can you use the
Diane's
mic,
not
please?
the petitioner?
No, we thought, well,
So when I visited last week, I said that we would withdraw Article 20, and I want to make sure I get it right, 24, once the committee was able to make a report under Article 5.
and we were just concerned that the committee, in phraseology, does not accidentally sunset themselves.
Which I don't think it does, but it's a debate between us, I guess.
You can talk to the attorneys.
Great, I will. But the other article, Article 23, we also did want to address today because we did have some information based on our conversation last week. So I wanted to make sure but I don't want to cut you
Well,
off
I
either.
feel like I'm done with the other article, but it's your meeting.
No, Diane, it's the only reason I was here, as we said on the phone, it's your committee, and I just want to be sure you don't inadvertently do something. You said you were unfamiliar with how to do things, and I was hoping just to make sure that you understood, so you didn't inadvertently do something with the best of intentions, but sometimes.
We all have the best of intentions, as you actually told me straight last week, that you know we all have the best intentions, and we're trying as hard as we can to get it right.
Not a
So I
problem.
appreciate the advice. Any advice from anyone.
Very good, very good. And did you want to say something, Leslie?
I did. So last week, we talked about a couple of things. One was that the legislative body can't instruct the executive body to act. And I went through past town meeting articles and found a number of articles that instructed either the town administrator or the select board to act. And I just made copies for you. It's certainly not exhaustive, but it's the first few that I came across. So that was a question that was brought up, and I just wanted to give you that point of information. Number two, there was a question about nonprofits related to entities in town using their building, and you had said, Mr. Pigeon, that you have to have a contract with that entity in order to be able to have access to the building. And so we requested that information from Derek, and he said that's not the case, that none of those organizations have active agreements with, for example, the PTA with the school or the library foundation with the library, that there are no such agreements. So I just wanted to underscore that point. We're just asking for the same access that other nonprofits have to the entity whose mission they serve in town. That's it. I do have another revised budget. Again, the budget is a collaborative piece of documentation that both the steering committee has been working on with Derek, and then we've been helping to fill in some gaps. For example, I talked to Dave Menard, and he was like, oh, you need to include, he's really micro, and I love it, because he does the work, so he knows how much it costs and what it's going to require. So he's like, have you included drawing the lines on the fields, because you'll want to keep those fields active when we maintain them? And I'm like, of course, we want all of that to happen. So he's giving me a few micro amounts that need to be inserted under maintenance. He said that the maintenance number looks really good to him, though, in general, in terms of the expenses. And then we've looked at the income again, and what I realized when I came back from the last meeting is, so we've been extremely conservative when we look at income. Unless we have a document that says, I want to rent this, and we know how much they currently spend in rent, we haven't plugged in any of those numbers. I have been too conservative in terms of, these are projections, we need to give you a full projection, not a conservative projection, because they're all projections. So I gave you a more clear picture of all of the sources of income that we anticipate, so that I'm not cutting off myself before I even get a chance. Do you know what I mean? I'm not
It's another
diminishing
funny
my
story.
own numbers, basically, which I was doing. So
We've been so careful, and it's included in the way we were preparing the original budget, is we didn't want to lead you on in a way.
Right.
We wanted documented
Hard
income.
numbers.
When it suddenly occurred to Leslie, and she is 100% correct, we realized we're just giving them things that are guaranteed. What we should do is give them the whole picture if the whole entire building is rented out as we anticipate it will
Right.
be, especially based on the interest. And I know interest is not writing us a check. But we do believe that with the amount of interest that we've had, we're receiving letters every week from people that are interested, that we were selling ourselves short
Yes,
in that budget.
that's a perfect way of saying it, thank you. So again, this is a living, evolving document that's being circulated among all the stakeholders. It will change again, I'm sure, but we wanted to at least give you our best draft of the budget as of today.
Just remember, this is our first time, and now I think we have a much clearer picture of what we should have been doing all along. We've been too careful.
Any questions of the committee? Yes, go ahead, Jody.
You wasn't just gonna sit here. Couple questions. How is the bookkeeping gonna be done? Has it been determined what kind of account this is gonna be with the town? Is it gonna be an enterprise account, a revolving account?
I think Derek has suggested it be a revolving fund, like that's how the sewer fund is handled, correct?
Enterprise.
Enterprise. I thought it was a
It
revolving
is
fund.
revolving. It can go to $1 million, remember?
I think he's suggested a revolving fund from Derek. I don't want to get Derek's words wrong, but I think that's what I was told. So that it captures the income that's specific to that building and also the costs that are specific to that enterprise, right? So that it's all kept separately and discrete. Is that correct?
Yeah, the sewer's an enterprise account.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that sounds like an enterprise account.
So what's
No,
the,
revolving account's different. I mean, it's kind of money in, money out.
I know that he didn't want it to go into the general fund.
Correct.
So what's the difference between an
You
enterprise
tell us
and a?
what you're planning on doing. We're
We
asking,
want to follow Derek's lead. He
we're not,
suggested
we're
that
not
it be.
directing you how to do it.
Yeah, I
But we
wasn't
say
telling you
we
what was
wanna
right or
find
what
out.
was wrong. I just was, nothing
I'm-
has been said how it was gonna go.
I think he advised a revolving fund. I hope I have
Would
that
you please
correct,
check?
but I will.
Because there's two others
No, I
besides enterprise, there's also retained earnings.
I can actually just ask the person who met with him. John Dahlmeyer and Charlie Kluber met with Derek, so let me just ask.
Revolving fund has a ceiling.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's probably what they're at.
Yeah.
Enterprise funds
It's revolving.
it's not gonna be big enough.
So there's,
A revolving fund
difference
has
is
a
a cap.
limit, yeah.
okay.
But that gets voted at town meeting what the cap
Right,
is, so
right.
that's,
Yeah,
Oh, I see,
and
okay.
we'll do that.
All right,
We'll
I'm
go on.
clarifying that, but I will get you that information.
the other thing, town meeting, gave $15,000 to do an assessment of the buildings. Has that been done?
I'll let you handle that.
So again, officially, I am not here as a steering committee chairwoman. I will speak though to that. So we actually, I sent out an RFP to, it was 4 or 5 different firms. We heard back from 2, well, actually, we'd already heard from 1. We heard back from a second one. We chose Jones Payne for their proposal. Forwarded all that information to Derek. It's been in Derek's hands for, I'm gonna say, 2 weeks. I know that he is moving forward with it. The last I checked, he had not contacted Jones Payne yet.
So the answer is it's not done yet.
Diane, you keep referring that you're not here as the chair. You are the chair.
Well, I am the chair. I
I mean,
won't.
you speak for the chair.
I just, like, again, I'm afraid to break any rules, and because we haven't talked about this at my meeting, the steering committee meeting, I don't wanna make any mistakes. I don't wanna say things that maybe I shouldn't be saying because we haven't discussed it yet.
Well, then say so, but you are here as the chair.
I am the chair, yes.
I wasn't trying to give you questions to put you on the spot with that, just if, I was just curious, because at some point I'd like to see
I'm
it.
just very nervous about saying the wrong, this is how
Listen,
nervous we are.
I say the wrong things all the time, so
Well, I'm not, yeah, I could say the wrong thing all day, every day, and it wouldn't bother me one bit. Legally, I don't wanna break any rules.
At this
It was a
level,
revolving
Diane,
fund.
we're all amateurs.
Oh, okay,
We're doing the
good.
best we can.
And the
I
other,
confirmed it was a revolving fund, not to interrupt you. but-
that's fine, okay, that's what I
It
said, I
isn't
wasn't
done.
looking
It
for
isn't done.
anything tricky here about that just,
It isn't done.
I heard you say some of these proposals coming in for tenants, or however you wanna word it, and what they paid before. I'm not sure why that comes into the mix. In a retail type business, and I'm looking at this as a retail type business, I mean, you take your expenses, you take how many square feet you're gonna rent out,
Yes.
and that's where you go. It's not what they paid before. They might save money. I mean, I don't know.
That's another way in which I'm being too conservative. And you're pointing it out exactly. So these numbers are lower than they should be. I don't want, because they haven't achieved a square footage number yet. Derek and Charlie and John have been tossing it around, but because they haven't set one, I've been looking at what they paid before.
Yeah, and that's fine. I was just saying.
I think that's a great point.
In the real world, I mean,
Yes.
you would see, well, what do we have here for space and whether you plan on renting
right.
out, you know, it's,
Yeah, we're not gonna ask you what you paid at the
You're
last
right,
place.
you're right,
And
you're
charge
right.
you the same.
yeah, you don't know. I mean, they could be looking to save money. You know, hopefully they're looking to save money. I mean, at the end of the day. You know, I got a few things, but I'm gonna be quiet now.
Thank you. I have a feeling you're being kind to us, thank you.
Any other questions?
Where do you come up with the 20 events idea? What makes you
So-
think you'll have that many events?
Well, we were looking at other community centers in the Commonwealth that have rented out their space. When we talked to several of them and we used their numbers as a baseline, we think the courtyard is a huge selling point. It's really beautiful there in the summer, and it gives you access to bathrooms and to other spaces in the building, but you can imagine having a very nice party, award ceremony in that courtyard. I know that this sounds crazy, but people get married in all kinds of venues these days, and wedding venues are extremely expensive, and if you're on a budget, it could be a perfect venue for something like that. I also think businesses that have holiday parties and things like that, I really think it will be very easy to find events that want to rent that space because of all of the options it offers. With the kitchen, then you have a caterer, the kitchen is right there for them. I think it could be a lowball figure, but we did try to use comparable towns that have rented out their spaces.
Now, can I just add one more thing now that was brought up?
Sure.
Now that the town's gonna maintain all the fields there, cut the grass basically.
Yes.
And I see for grounds and sports field rentals, so the youth programs in town are gonna have to pay to use those fields?
So they already do. They already do. There's a rental form that existed on the old Deacon's School's website that the sports teams already used when they rented the fields. We're just trying to continue whatever was in place before. So I should say this, is if there's some special deal that wasn't obvious from the website, I wouldn't know about that. We're trying to continue what was in place before, but certainly if there was a new group, we wouldn't want to grandfather them into some free deal. If there was a new group that came along, we would want to rent space in a way that made sense.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm involved in youth sports my entire life, and almost in every town they go in front of the school department or whoever may be in charge of that field and ask for waivers. I mean, that's just a common practice.
Well, that's why we want a community center, so we can offer those fields for free, so that the
Still gotta maintain
leasees,
them though. I mean,
but the leasees are paying for those fields. We don't want the teams
Norma,
ultimately to
Saturday.
pay for
Norma?
them.
Okay,
No, that's her name?
yes.
When you said you were looking down at the, 20 events, rule of thumb on estimates, on a balance sheet is you use a third. So if they say 20, it's just kind of like a basic number. I mean, you can see her income is 698. So some of this is etched in stone, and then some of it is an estimate. So, like I said, in most rule of thumbs on estimate, balance sheets is you use a third, which would bring their number down, considerable, but their expense is only 400,000. So they have 700,000 projected income, 400,000 expense. Use a third of those numbers, you're gonna come out to a pretty good balance. That's what I just did with the numbers. Okay?
Matt?
Going into Article 23 and reading through it, it says here that preparing the building for occupancy and by moving the Council of Aging to the Deacon's School building by July 1st, 2022. So July 1st of this year. Do you feel that the Deacon's School with one handicap accessible bathroom on the wing where you want to put the senior citizens is efficient for the COA?
They only have one handicap bathroom now, and they have to go up a flight of stairs or an elevator to get to it.
Do we know what condition that bathroom's in? Because the bathrooms on the other sides are all all have broken fixtures.
What condition the handicapped bathroom is in. That was not pointed out. Now, I've been on 2 tours with Dave Menard. That one was not pointed out as one that needed new fixtures. I want to also say that the foundation has put in a application for a Lowe's community grant for exactly that purpose of addressing those toilet issues that we talked about with Dave Menard. And it's the grant is actually specifically meant for exact things like that, small projects in a municipal building that need to be fixed, like the, I think they're called flush masters, that some of them need to be replaced with in some of the toilets.
Anything else? Jerry?
This budget here is, as of today, when your best estimate as to more concrete numbers or final number, in the sense, we gotta go to the fall town meeting, and at that point, isn't there going to be a decision made as to, okay, this is viable as opposed to selling? So how do you see it flushing out during the summer as to when you're getting more solid figures?
So, like I said at the last meeting, I don't feel that any of us will feel like we have reliable numbers until RFPs are put out and we see who bids on those RFPs. Because that is the opportunity for people we don't even know to say they want to rent space, and for the ones that we have letters of interest from to say that they want their space. I feel like the RFPs are a critical component of this to demonstrate real numbers. Without that, again, it's us looking at comparable towns and what they've done and estimates.
You would though have what you call real numbers for that annual fall town or the fall town meeting.
I mean, I think we can have it.
Or as best you can, right? If you have commitments, you would have those numbers, and then if there's no commitments, you would not put that number on a
I think we can have it before fall town meeting. I think Derek Sullivan right now has the ability to issue RFPs on that building. He is the administrator of that building, and I think if he did that tomorrow, we would know very soon what income we could project for that. I also did want to say we met with Senator Markey's office today, and they guided us through some very exciting funding opportunities that are becoming available. The deadline is April 15th. We also forwarded all of the information, or it is being forwarded to Derek. Their congressional, I don't know what he called them, but entities, municipalities, town administrators, nonprofits can all apply for them. You don't have to be a municipality. And I think we want to have a conversation with Derek and say what of this money makes sense to apply for, who should apply for it, what can it be used for in service of this community center idea. So we had a very exciting, productive conversation with them this morning. And congressionally directed spending opportunities, that was the phrase. So in a very short window of time before April 15th, we will know exactly what pots of money are available. Talk to Derek, get more information about that.
Yeah, I see that the foundations, it's in for 80,000, and the library did 80,000. But remember, the library's been working on that for a decade, so
I know,
you're not
but
gonna be
we
that- you're
are
not
ready to
gonna be at
work
80.
our butts off to make this happen.
And truthfully, sadly so, I feel like the library is more of a niche than a community center. The community center, I'm a reader, so let's just, I'm a big fan of all libraries. I read a book, I'm always reading. There's never not a book by my hand. But the community center is going to serve everyone in this community, and I think that we may have understated or not understood how much support we had out there, and as the days have gone by, based on interactions we've had and communications we've had, and people are very excited about the idea of this one-stop community center where everyone's needs can somehow be met. So I don't know what else to say.
If the project were to be blessed by a important committee such as yours or by the select board, I think what you'll see is a tipping point where so many people who've been waiting and wondering will now come forward and say, oh my God, this is so great, like I want to support it. I'm not BSing you here. That opportunity is there for us. We just have to put it out there as a reality that people can invest in.
Okay, well, go ahead, David.
One thing.
One more.
I hope that you'll make this presentation to Diane's group, and they will vote to approve it. It's much easier if we can go to town meeting and saying, yes, the committee that we put together endorses this.
It's on our agenda tonight.
Good, because it's much better if you come to us and say, we've endorsed this, and would you please make this presentation? We don't want to have anything that's contradictory. And so it's important that the committee vote and say, yes, this is what we want to do. And then you can come before us or town meeting, and it's much easier, as opposed to someone having another person standing up and saying something that you disapprove of.
I agree, and I appreciate you looking out for me.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you very much. Now you're all voting yes, right?
Is there a way for Diane to text one of you the result of their vote if you're still meeting tonight? Or is that worth doing, or?
With the money number, there won't be a vote tonight, right?
Right, yeah,
Okay,
right.
all right.
And we won't vote on these until next week, is that correct?
Okay.
You can come back next
Anything we
week.
do this week, we
And-
don't do it till next week.
Yeah, we won't vote on these two until next
Okay.
week, anyway.
Excellent.
But yes,
Thank
we
you.
would like to get your results of your committee vote.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the time, everyone, thank you.
Good night, Leslie.
Good night. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Okay, moving along here.
Sorry, Bob.
Next item, the vote on the articles we have, and as we go along with them, I will ask for volunteers to write the Finance Committee recommendations and also read the motion on the floor. Okay, whoops. We're gonna review both, the regular and determine their housekeeping. I think there's several that we can actually make a decision on. We don't have to have come before us.
You start with the annual town meeting?
Yes, we'll go with item 1. We're electing officers. I haven't heard anything that, come to think of it, the date of the election, because the Attorney General hasn't voted the change or accepted the change. Have you heard anything? Okay, so I assume is it in the beginning? No, it's not the beginning. Is it in May?
It's May 3rd.
It's gonna be May 3rd? Okay,
So it's after town meeting.
after town meeting. So we don't need to do anything on that one. Recurring business, anyone have any, not aware of any? Well, yes, there's the usual housekeeping things. And its purpose is to
These non-money ones, you want just vote to defer at the town meeting? Or you just gonna,
so hopefully we'll hear from Derek by next week.
but the elections and, no, I'm talking, like the election one, do you want just,
No, we'll just defer.
you don't wanna vote for that, to defer?
Make a motion.
You know, I'm moving around, like trying to do, I move, we defer Article 1 to town meeting.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, I won't call for a poll, but all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Recurring business. This allows the town to continue its typical operations. It's the one we see. And, okay. Pull the page here.
I believe that was the one, I believe that was the one that allowed the town to
Yes.
Board of Selectmen, town
They're
administrator,
housekeeping
apply for
articles,
grants and so forth.
and generally it authorizes the town to continue to conduct normal operations.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Defer or approve?
Approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Compensation of appointed officials. This one is, I'm gonna pass on this one. In the town clerk's budget, her position is $95,700, which is a bump significantly from what she was as a elected official from last year. And I'm not sure how that resolved. If we move it over here, it's fine if she's elected official, and she is. I'm just want to confirm that the amount is acceptable to, with Derek, excuse me. So we'll skip that one, go to revolving funds. The revolving funds, the amounts or ceilings haven't changed, and there hasn't been any added. There is 2 going to be added, in the special, beg your pardon. So I have a motion to approve, please.
I move to recommend.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion, questions?
So it's the
Being none,
same
all
as
those in
last year, right?
Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now, just to get clarification, no matter what the article is, I will ask for a motion to approve. You always have to have a positive motion on the floor, because whenever they look at the votes are in the same order, no matter what it is: approval, deny, and abstain. So all you have to do is look at the numbers, and you know exactly what they actually approved. Sometimes the selectmen do it in error. They'll vote to disapprove, and if you look at the numbers, you think they approved. So this is the consistency. The occasional reports, motion to refer.
So made.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The capital plan, I sent you a copy of the capital committee's document, but it's not a recommendation of any particular issue. And if you look at the last page of the, things over on $10 million, if they funded everything just for this particular fiscal year, that is requested.
A lot of the things in there have already been appropriated money, though, some of the, haven't they?
I believe they have.
Yeah.
The first column was 21, I believe.
Yeah, but it's talking about the total at the end. But when is he gonna have, I know that's pretty much a wish list. When is he gonna, or is he bringing any forward capital expenditures?
We'll have it, and supposedly we got it from Derek. Well, the committee is supposed to be meeting. Have you had another meeting,
We
David?
haven't had a recent meeting, no. So I think we're meeting next week.
I hope so.
Yes. Me too.
Because as the calendar goes, next week is our last week to actually have the opportunity to hearing and
So-
discuss, because the following week is the 23rd. Well, I counted it's the 23rd, and that's the, when we put our report together. I have to have it with the printer that Friday, the 15th, so we have about a week and a half left.
Yep.
So
Capital
just-
planning meets on the 6th at 1 PM.
We're meeting at 6:30.
Right.
So I
Crack
have,
the whip, David, crack the
Yes.
whip.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a wish list. There has to be a separate appropriation of
Yes.
items on the wish
Yes.
list. Okay,
I think before we can vote on this, we should have capital planning and Derek here.
yes.
Yeah.
I
Want to
agree.
see Jim again? Yes, by all means.
Talk about the monies and how much it is and where the money's coming from.
Oh, indeed, and if you have capital, it's for Jim, because he is the chairman.
Yes.
But Derek, of course, has final say on it, because it all comes out typically of free cash. And it is established, as you see, it goes forward, and it's based on warranties, et cetera, expected usage.
But it's a 5-year look-ahead plan, and that part is projection, obviously. And the amount for this year is one that has got to be
Yeah.
approved.
So 6, 7, and 8, we're not gonna hear. 9 is Upper Cape. May I have a motion to approve?
I move we recommend.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion?
Let me do that one, Bernie.
Yes,
Especially if what number is that one?
9.
9.
So I'll write the thing for 9.
And make sure it's real good. Louise has told me to shut up because I can't stop talking about it, and
Okay.
her granddaughter is going there. As well as she's been applied.
So we're gonna vote on this?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The enterprise fund, I'm gonna hold off on that because, although we've reviewed the budget itself, there's a transfer sheet that comes in because it transfers, from, enterprise to the general fund. The union contracts, no information, they didn't even, discuss it last night. The, Article 12, community preservation reserves, this is where they balance their budgets as required by legislation.
Make a motion?
Motion's made and seconded. Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Who would like to write that one?
I'll write that.
The 801 Village. That is a puzzler. Anybody care to make a motion?
I'll move to recommend.
Second.
Second, yeah.
Made and seconded. Discussion.
Okay, that's where we're taking money from
CPC.
CPC and putting it into
Private.
a private basically a 40B, affordable housing.
You know,
And we're putting $300,000 in, and they're constructing 6 of them, so we're putting 50,000 into each of them.
I have to, on the one hand, agree with Dominic's opinion of it. It is private enterprise. But even with the Wareham housing, affordable housing, the town itself does not own any.
Right.
And as a result, the only way we can have some affordable housing in town is through private investment.
Yeah, but the restrictions and the affordability, that all comes into play. I mean, they have a good track record. It's just a personal thing for me. You guys do what you want. I can't. I mean, you wanna give me money, I'll make a profit too. I'll do whatever you want, but it's hard for me to swallow, that's all. And I don't wanna sway anybody that way. I just, CPC funds are great, and it's probably, it's gonna help our, our level there, what is it, for,
10%. Affordable housing.
Okay, so it's gonna raise that, but it's only gonna raise it by 6 units. And if you look at the other project, the 815 and all that, has anyone actually looked at the tax returns or the balance sheets? They make a nice profit. So we're giving money to a private entity to make a profit. Sorry, Tommy, that's how I feel. Oh, okay, it's how I feel.
I'm with you.
Okay, I'm against it, so.
I
but
asked.
I'm for it and against it, you know what I'm trying to say? I like the issue of it. I don't like the private enterprise making money off of our money.
I asked the question about what the turnover is has been in their existing buildings. Because what we're trying to do is to provide low-income housing. And those units should help people get a leg up and grow into, either sell a house and get into something bigger or advance their lifestyle in some way. And I just would like to know is what's happening to these things that we're investing in. Are they doing what we hope they're doing?
I'm not sure that's the purpose of affordable housing, really. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think affordable housing is to allow people to survive. And there are people who will never get out of that situation, no matter how hard they work, because they're not going to have either the education or the wherewithal as a business person or whatever. They're just not going to. So I think affordable housing is meant to make it possible for especially families and elderly people to survive.
Yeah, you know, and I agree with just about everything that has been said. And this is no news flash, but medium income, we're going by based on Boston, what they can get for rents and stuff. That's what makes Wareham so attractive. I mean, that's not a secret to anybody. And I said the night when we heard this, you know, I mean, I understand the affordable housing. I wish we could do something with what the income levels are and bring it down to where Wareham people can really afford it. And I also said sometimes, you know, I've looked at this and I agree with Dominic, I agree with Norm with all these things, but sometimes I got to hold my nose and vote for something, because I think at the end of the day, I want to see people that need affordable housing have some place to go.
And I agree with you. I just don't think that these rents are at that level.
Yeah.
But then again, we don't have an alternative. If we want to
We really don't.
provide some affordable housing within our community, it's the only access we have.
That's what you gotta do.
And I think for our project, if we're going to invest in a property, I think this is a great property to do it with. I mean,
They certainly have good, the appearance, they're clean, neat.
yeah.
And it's, I mean, if you have a vision, or so you draw a picture in your mind what affordable housing, when you drive by, will look like, this is not what I would picture.
Well, then they ought to be able to show us what their affordable housing has done for those people who have moved into that affordable housing. The other thing is that just because it's affordable housing doesn't mean it's open specifically to Wareham, current people in Wareham who have a need.
It's not.
No.
So,
But again, that's like the 40Bs.
That's,
I think.
They aren't exclusive to Wareham either.
Well,
Or
I
those
mean,
are forced down our throats too.
I
But the
just don't think
40Bs
it
are
measures
being-
up, frankly.
But the
I mean,
40Bs are being built privately with private money. Okay, you saw the numbers up there. This guy's putting 12% of his own money in.
Mhm.
Pretty good
Well,
deal.
Hell of a deal. I'm in. You know, I don't
You're
know
next.
how else to say it, you know?
Well, you take the initial installation they have up there, they don't want, that's all his monies. He didn't ask for anything when they originally constructed, I've asked
But
him.
Bernie's turning a profit too.
Indeed he is,
Okay.
of course he is, yeah.
That's what he put his money up for, turn a profit.
But this time, he's doing an addition, and because of legislation that has happened in the interim, he has an opportunity to ask for additional monies
God
out
bless
of
him,
this.
hoping, you know,
And so he's a
whatever.
private business person, as you would too. If you had access to it, you'd apply for it, of course, you're a good businessman.
I'll go CPC for money.
We'll look forward to seeing you next
Oh,
year.
yeah, sure. They'll give it right to me, that's for
you have to
sure.
recuse yourself from that.
Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, Jerry.
First, I think CPC already gave blood this year. They just bought a golf course. Second is government funds. Government's been giving out funds for the last 2.5 years. I think we should stop. There's got to be a stop. And he's, if he has to put in half his own money, you know, so what? He's the one making the profit. So I just think I don't see the CPC having to give money for this. He's already got other
I
money.
mean, you're looking at the CPC, the people in this room,
Yeah, Matt?
where it's coming from.
Do we know how the other committees voted on this?
No, they didn't. I don't believe they did. Wait a minute, I got it right here.
Selectmen vote on.
No, they did not vote, did not.
I think we obviously voted to put it on the warrant.
Yeah, that's what you
No,
voted for
it's
last.
not what-
Everything went on the warrant last night, and there was some you voted.
But I think there was possibly a very slight majority against the project, again, because of the monies.
No, but you didn't take a vote on it.
Yeah, it's not an official vote yet. The project, because of the rising costs of construction, they've actually changed the project, which you probably don't know.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Because it just happened a few days ago. I I believe the house that they were gonna convert. Oh, sorry, Bob, I apologize. I didn't think I was gonna speak though.
That's Captain Midnight.
Well, no, Bob, they're both black, sorry. You didn't look close enough. I think they're taking the barn and they're gonna convert it into 2 units now, rather than one. And the other thing is, that there's a misconception. I think there was a presentation, I think a day or so ago. I think it was one of the, doesn't matter who. They talked about, 40B, everything is 40B and affordable. It doesn't have to be affordable to be a 40B. You can build them and specify non-40B type projects. 40B suggests to the state they would like to see any city or town, if I'm not mistaken, have some investment into the 40B. It makes the state feel a little better because they're investing a lot of money. But you don't have to. That's one of the fallacies. The community can just support it by, providing, sewer or whatever else, or actually having it available. That's an investment itself, just be able to increase flow, whatever. So you don't have to, at the end of the day, the municipality does not have to put their money into any 40B if they don't want to. It just tends to make it easier, because when they go back to the state to get their monies and get approval, because it only comes like twice a year, they go through and they get voted on, et cetera. If a city or town has a major investment, it makes it easier for them to get their money. And that's how it actually works, as of now.
Any other discussion, questions, concerns? And I'll go for a vote, and I'll ask the clerk to take a roll call on this, please.
Tom, what you say?
I'm not gonna vote for it.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yes or no? We're
No.
taking vote. No? Jody?
Yes.
Norma?
Yes.
Dave?
I'll abstain.
Bernie?
Yes.
Jerry? No. Matt?
Yes.
Dom?
No.
Your count?
I was just doing the names. I didn't know.
4
has
in
it.
favor, 3
3
against,
and 3,
1
3 and
abstain. 4-3-0, or
3-3-A.
4-3-1.
4 in favor, 3 against.
One abstention.
Where is it in his pay? We're going to have to take that
Count
out.
agree with that, Mr. Clerk?
God, I have 2 jobs, not only call names, but count, right?
Got 2 hands.
Yeah.
Okay, Article 14 is Harbor Services.
Someone gonna write that one or what? I'll do it, but you probably don't want me to.
No, Dom, if you feel,
I can write it up.
okay,
Either way.
Norma will.
You know what? Can I
Glad
see
you
a pen for a
volunteered,
minute?
No, if you were silent, I was gonna
No,
give
wait a
it to
minute,
Dom.
wait a minute. Norman's gonna write the, what number's that? What number's that?
13.
13.
Lucky 13.
13. So you're gonna write the pro, I'm gonna write the con.
Okay,
Well, that's what, you were saying, I was going to say, I'll do it with Dominic together, but
We'll
you
do
guys
the-
can do it together. I don't volunteer for nothing right on that.
okay, with the two of you, Reader's Digest version, please. Not, we don't need Ernest Hemingway.
Ernest Hemingway was very succinct.
Jody, I will,
No, Norman's going to do it with you.
no, Norman's gonna do the pro.
We can coordinate though.
You sure you wanna get involved with me?
What was
Okay.
that SNL skit?
You said you wanted a learning experience, here you go.
I would mention the change that's coming about with Brenda Ekstrom's,
A zoning change?
Local apartment, or divide lots, I guess.
Those are the additions. I think you're
Low income
referring to the additions
What
that
num-
Brenda has to
what
the
number's
last-
that?
But that just got approved by the Secretary of State, or whoever the heck approves these.
There were some language changes in it, though.
No, Brenda has some language changes.
Some language changes.
I believe that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, the low-income housing, that's affecting our 10% number to have low-income housing, or whatever we've gotta get to.
I don't think that's not the one he's referring to.
It-
The low-income housing, I think, came up last night, and Peter was referring to
No,
it.
Peter, yeah, I would say just to clarify, Peter wants to withdraw, rescind the vote from last year and wipe out what I've been working on. So, he's doing that on the special, so I'm hoping that we can vote against that, and vote for the one that we got approved last year, and the amendments that I got approved with DHCD this year, that it will be on the warrant.
But it would result in more easier projects to get into
Right,
the low-income housing
mhm,
pile.
to count on the subsidized housing inventory, correct, which is
And-
the 10% we
and-
need to get to.
You had a 6-month guarantee to get us over 10%. You
You,
do?
you gave me 6 months, but I mean, we can get a good amount, I don't know if we can get it with
Okay,
6 months,
well,
but
I hope you can swim.
I hope so.
Yeah, well, I'm glad for the explanation, because I thought the rescinded article was to take it out and put the whole new article forward.
No, he wants to just pull the whole thing.
I was just reading it wrong.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Okay, Article 14, Harbor Services Permit Receipts Reserved. This is $4,375. I chose that, not being necessary to call Gary before us, because this is just the cost of mooring one of the boats at a private marina. We have 3 boats, I believe it is, and there's 2 different marinas plus the one down in the Onset Harbor.
Move to recommend.
Second.
Just a quick question on that one, if I may. That's also on the special town warrant as Article S10.
Well, we'll get to that then. He wants something else, I think.
It's the transfer sum of $43.75.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
to be transferred to the Harbor Masters Maintenance, that's maintenance and improvement accounts.
okay, it's the different account. Well,
So this one is.
yes, it is different.
Transferred to the Harbor Master, I'd say he's actually doing 8,375 between 2 articles.
This
on
is
that.
for vessel docking.
That's for vessel docking? Okay. Okay, so that's just vessel docking, and you said it was $43.75?
Yes. Motion to approve, please.
Made.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
You get the count, Jerry?
Unanimous.
It is strange, it's the same amount.
Article 15.
Move to approve.
This is the replacement of Swift Beach sewer lines to Ruggles Pump Station.
Move to recommend.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
What is the annual revenue of the sewage treatment facility?
I don't have it here with me. I have my other book.
Huge.
Didn't you read your emails? I swear I
I
sent
did.
it out to everyone.
I've been doing other things,
did.
I'm sorry.
Take me a minute, Tom.
Huh?
Got the financials, it take me a second. 2 seconds.
This isn't a trillion, Jerry, I know it's a number you don't like.
It's a small number. Okay. Water Pollution Control Facility for audited financials. Total revenues, $8,196,000.
Okay,
Okay.
and
Expenses, $7,817,000. Profit, roughly 400.
but that does not, that does not include the 10 million they put in to create the surge on the front end? Is that right? They spent, was it 2 meetings ago, 2 town meetings ago, or a town meeting ago, where they wanted to create this reservoir so that when they had a
Two.
rainstorm? Huh?
Two reservoirs.
2
Yeah.
reservoirs.
Yeah.
And that was that a $10 million expense?
I would think, though, that would be a depreciable expense possibly.
Huh?
So it might be in depreciation, I'm not sure. I mean, it was a capital improvement.
It was a capital improvement,
So-
so it wasn't out of the operating budget,
Right.
which is what you
But
were
it
just
could-
quoted.
But it
It would be in these figures in the sense of it's in as a depreciation.
But it just started, the thing just came online, it isn't even totally online.
Well,
Right.
this is for the
The
year ended
years ago, we
September
With the transfer
21.
and everything else?
Yeah.
Huh? Is that totally,
It's right.
Yeah.
but within the past 6 months?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they're completed now, but I don't know if they were completed by June 21st.
And now they're coming after $6 million.
Yeah.
In wear and tear, I guess, it's just a normal replacement activity.
It's only the tip of the iceberg.
Pardon me?
It's only the tip of the iceberg.
It's
I
way
know,
overdue.
I know
All
that.
these, all these main
So,
lines are,
and then they say they're not gonna increase the rates until next year.
they just went up 15%.
50%.
Huh?
They just went up 15% April 1st.
Bernie, can I put my 2
They did
cents
go
in?
up?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
All right,
Good,
I thought he said he was gonna go up next August too, didn't they, at the last?
He went
meeting?
up at this one, and I think he said he has one more increase coming.
Yes, I think that's right.
Okay, all
They
right.
do not have sufficient monies to implement the maintenance program they have, let alone replace these.
So if they go up 15%, it's $1.2 million, is that what they get, I mean, based on 8 million currently? Is that what will happen? Their revenue's gonna go up to,
Which will pay for
I
the
don't know what
bonds.
the revenue will,
you
yeah,
just,
but
you said it was $8 million.
But there's more than, that's all total revenue, that's not just fees.
Small area.
That's all revenue
Yeah,
from
well,
all.
grease and everything, and all the other
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah,
Okay,
I-
all right.
Yeah, Tom, I don't know if, well, they must break it down, but I didn't, that figure I gave you was total.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the ratepayers, what the ratepayers pay.
I'll see if I can get back to you.
You may want to, on the revenue side, make sure that the revenue no longer includes the betterment payments and interest, because that was a
Right.
problem.
Okay, yeah, take that out of the total.
Generated a $7 million surplus account, if everybody remembers, when the selectmen turned over everything after the change to elected officials. It was about $7 million in the account, which was generated because they were taking the actual betterment payment and interest, and including it in the expense to figure out the fees. So make sure that's out of it, or ask the question, just so you know. I believe it is finally out though.
Bernie, I got my 2 cents when you're
Just
ready.
Put it on, go ahead.
I've
Okay.
also applied.
So,
for a
I've said this
federal-
with,
I've also applied for a federal grant with Representative Congressman Keating 2 weeks ago for $142 million for the project to basically take our waste in the 5 communities, including us, out at the
To
Cape Cod.
regionalize and down to the
Good,
canal.
Yeah.
Good
I'm not
job.
sure if we'll get it, but I've asked them to go at the federal level, see if they can get the money for it. So if you think $10 million is a lot of money, it's nothing from what they're looking at.
Dominic?
okay, but you guys have heard me say this before, and I'm just gonna say it again. So, the rate of the town people that are on sewerage is, what do they say, approximately half or a little more than half,
Somewhere around that.
52 or 3%. The 52 and 53% of the people in the town of Wareham are paying for this. You have 40-something% of the people that aren't on sewerage. Okay? Now, the whole town benefits from sewerage. Everyone in Swift's Beach is gonna benefit from that sewerage. Only the sewer people are paying the bill. I just wanna put my 2 cents out there that I believe that that's wrong. I think everyone in the town should have, even if they're not on sewage, should have some kind of minimum payment. I'm not saying how much or whatever. But I don't believe that just the sewer users should foot the damn bill for the town of Wareham to have cleaner water and all that stuff. That's my 2 cents.
Hey, you're talking about the direct and indirect costs. Direct
All
costs is
costs.
the users. Direct
The
cost is
users
the
will pay,
user.
the users
He's
is the
paying-
only income.
No, but
basically.
you're paying, you're enjoying an indirect cost because you're supposedly, because the community is better off having the sewerage, although you're on septic tank. And that has gone through courts. And that's why it's resolved as it is.
I understand, just my 2
Yeah.
cents.
Yeah, I've gone through that fight in another major town I came from, sewer project, where they wanted the whole town to help pay for it.
It should.
It never gonna get by town meeting.
Judy and I know that, but I just had to
I
put
mean,
it out
it just
there
made
because I
for
had to
some
put it out
ugly
there because
situations.
it's not fair, that's all.
Well, one of the things I want to point out is in light of that one there is, let's say everybody in town has to pay something towards the sewer department. how many people are gonna wanna tie into the sewer and how much can the company handle, how much can they
Well,
handle? Because we're already at max now, can we,
That's not it, it's, the sewage is only available in most of the parts of the town. If it was mandated that you had to hitch up in certain parts of the
in
town.
certain parts, correct? But there's a line right down, I'm on septic and there's a line right down my road that I'm not tied into.
Well, I think they're.
So if I
started
had to pay for sewage, I could technically ask them to tie me in.
Okay.
And, I mean,
It goes
at
for
that point.
water as well, I mean.
Right, and that's just, I mean, and that's my thought pattern on it. How many people are gonna say something along
It's
those
not
same lines?
available for everybody, but
Right.
you're right, if it's available to you, you
If
should
it-
have that option, I agree with you.
Right, but and now we start making everyone pay, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people jump onto the system, that's just not.
Yeah, I just got my water bill, I was trying to figure out where I lived before, I had MWRA. These people think they're paying a lot down
Oh, yeah,
here.
no, water bill,
Whatever my water bill was, you had to figure your sewage bill was 3 times.
the water bills are pretty reasonable in this town.
They're very
The
reasonable.
water bill's reasonable.
Okay, moving right along here, can I have a motion to approve, please? We have, it's
Motion
up
on
for
second. I thought
discussion.
We did that already, yeah.
Yep, it's up for discussion, that's what we did. You may,
This is 15.
yes,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
motion made and seconded, any further discussion? Thank you, gentlemen, ladies. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, unanimous. Article 16. The Wareham School, the school doesn't want to pay the bills anymore, so we have to. Well, hopefully there's no covenants on it or contingency so that we can put it on the market. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to recommend.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, any discussion? Everybody understand what is happening here?
Maybe we should turn it into affordable housing. Where's the Affordable Housing
Or
Trust?
community center.
This is something they should be looking at.
There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote, thank you. Article 17,
Force Main from Main Street to the Narrows.
Motion to recommend.
Second.
motion made and seconded, discussion.
I think we've had that one.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That line, is that the line that they lined with the,
That was Swift Speech.
No, not yet.
no, it's Swift Speech.
Swift
Okay,
Speech they
no,
lined.
the
This one,
That they turned
Yeah,
the
this
sump
one could be
pumps on
another
and
line,
did a
too.
number on it.
right, and ruined them. Yeah, that was it.
Next on, Article 18. Funding
This is the
Wareham
50%.
Affordable Housing Trust, this is where they want 50% of the net proceeds.
Of the auction houses, yes. Make a
Now-
motion to approve.
Now, they already have 25%. They already get 25%
Yes,
of the net proceeds. This would increase it from 25%
To 50.
to 50%.
now, I have a negative feeling about this only because I queried more information. Matt had a research to find one, I got the budget from Judy, but the person submitting it from the Wareham, WAHT, provide no other information, never heard from him. Didn't respond to my emails, they're looking for more information. What do they do? What does their money provide for? Do they have any housing? Are they manager, anything? And all we got, definitely wanted to hire somebody, I know that, in this conversation, but there was nothing else concrete, and there was no follow-up on it.
Didn't you send us like a 50-page,
The budget?
no, PDF file about that?
It was
The
like
housing
a
production
brochure.
plan for the
I
town.
mean,
of
not
Oh,
Wareham.
from him,
production
not from
plan.
him,
Production
but.
plan.
They were just some
Forward.
stuff I found, yeah,
Yeah.
in the research, but, I didn't find anything else. The wording was such that, yes, they were gonna do things, but we didn't have any, town doesn't own any. And so beyond that, what were they doing other than having meetings or whatever, you know?
What is a housing trust? I mean,
That's
That's the
one of those
question
vague things that.
we'd like to have them
we
answer.
couldn't resolve.
so it was created by town meeting.
Mhm.
It doesn't seem to have a clear mission.
Well, in 22, supposedly March 22, it's dated their housing assessment production plan for the town. And I found that, and there was another one here.
If we ask them to come back and give us a better explanation,
I think
We only have
vote it-
next week
vote it-
available
vote it
to
down.
us, so I'm not
We're
sure.
gonna
if
come
they-
back with a plan. It makes
Well,
more
I'll
sense
ask them,
than-
of course.
I would like to, I'd like to get some more information.
Yeah, I agree with Dave, because I didn't know that they were getting 25%.
I didn't either, I didn't realize that.
No, that wasn't relayed to us, and I think one of my other concerns with this entire thing is if they want us to give them more money, but they're not doing anything with the money they
Telling us
have.
what they're doing.
But, right, and even if we look through the ledger as you gave us, I mean, there's very little movement.
Well, the annual report shows some, I mean, the report from July 2020 to June 30, 21.
Was one project,
Yeah, but they also had a problem
one
with a
project for
quorum.
100,000.
You know, they had a problem with a quorum. I think it was,
Yeah, we changed
so
that.
they couldn't do anything, but they never had a quorum, so kind of, you know, then they got the number of quorum reduced by, instead of 4 out of 5 for a quorum, there's 3 out of 5, so maybe they can start doing something. But regardless, that was last, I think that was last annual fall meeting.
Yeah.
They did that. Regardless, I would like a week too and see if they come back and say something, because I'm really cloudy on this one. I'm not
Well,
quite sure.
he didn't even give us an idea of what they wanted to do, but were unable to because of that.
But because they couldn't meet, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, see, I walked away with it, it was almost like they were duplicating what the CPC does with their money, giving money to affordable housing. You know, and I know he kinda said that they might help people out with rent, they might help people out with a down payment, things like that, but see, I said, seems like they're doing the same
But
Same mission.
He mentioned that, but I didn't read in their charge to exist or their charter that they could do any of that he
Well,
suggested.
that's what I heard, that's what I'm saying, that, like you said, I'm a little confused with what they actually do, and I said, I think they're almost duplicating.
I mean, they
CPC.
have 60,000 in CPC funds already earmarked for them. I don't know when that went into
Yeah.
place, but
And they've got over 100,000.
it's right here in
still sitting
the
there.
annual report. So they have 137 in their account plus 60,000 earmarked for them from CPC.
And if I read it correctly, what they have in their funds, as of 12/31/20, they had $237,395.
They spent 100.
They spent 100.
And then the next year, they had 137. So someplace,
They spent
they spent 100 grand, and we don't know where it went.
And I
That's
thought
the
I
last
heard they wanna
insurance.
hire somebody too to
right there,
manage
Dave.
the books.
It's in that report
that
today.
You see the report right here, Dave?
The annual report today.
I know, they didn't present that.
No, they didn't present it to
Yeah.
us, no.
They
Oh,
didn't
they didn't
present
They
that.
didn't, no.
And that's
Present
information
that.
we just got this evening, which is wonderful, but he didn't present it.
Correct.
So I'd like to know what they're doing, and I think we have to give them the opportunity to make a presentation.
Okay, I made a note to ask him to return.
And on top of that, an overall view of all of the other people that provide similar access within the town, all the other programs that are, so we're just not duplicating or doubling up on things that we've already got covered in one way or another.
Well, I'm not sure we have time to
And
find
the
all that out, but we'll
Third
certainly get
thing
this one.
is, find out what we have as unproductive assets that the town owns and what the heck they're doing about it.
Oh, that's nothing to do with their
No,
trust.
Well, I mean, how long have we had that school up on, up by the church, up by the church?
By the church,
That's
Yeah.
something, that went for auction. didn't it?
Huh?
it's
I
going
think
for
it's
auction.
going on this
I know, it's already
tomorrow,
sold.
next month.
That went up for auction a
Every
couple
time
weeks
so?
ago, or a couple months
The
ago.
red one?
No, they brought it, they took it
Tomorrow.
off.
They took it, because they
It
they
was
had,
supposed to be in
And that's been there
December,
for-
but it's actually tomorrow.
oh, okay, because I remember they had to sign out there back in December.
The school that the school committee was gonna move into, the building the school committee was gonna build in. How could we have idle assets
Yeah.
that aren't doing anything but costing us money in the way of insurance or maintenance on them?
Good question.
Yeah, they belong to,
And-
but those
and-
two belong, we have two, that one you just mentioned, and the one that we're just transferring here, that's two of them that belong to the school department.
Then there's the West School,
Yeah, all those schools belong to the school department.
no,
They're in care and custody of the school department.
I don't think so anymore.
You don't think- They've been transferred over?
Yeah.
And the property across the street belongs to the town too. I believe they'll be doing something with that also. I think there's a push to sell all the buildings that will no longer use it.
Mhm.
There are a few buildings that have, reverter clauses. I think the East School, I believe, I don't think you've heard, but I believe in the last couple of days, the family or the heirs have refused to, take the school back. Just so you know. So they are working on it now.
Okay, I
think
made
the
a note of
Affordable
that.
The Affordable Housing Trust, I believe, they do a study report, which is required by the state to get funds and grants as well. So you have to have that no matter what, actually. I'd suggest if Jim should be able to come and Sandy, because Sandy has taken care of that for quite a while. My understanding from years ago, I'm probably wrong, is that they never had enough money to really do anything
Right.
for a long time.
He did
There was
mention.
never
Sort of what he
enough funds
said.
with the cost to build somebody a house or anything. But to
Brenda
offset
keeps
costs-
waving her arm down there as
Well,
well.
because I was one of the founding people
Yeah, she's
that
involved with
created the Affordable Housing Trust. And Alan's absolutely right, and as far as, I'm sorry, I'll get up, Bob. As far as the community preservation, one of the things for the Affordable Housing Trust, we did give out some money at the beginning when we had it, but community preservation, you have to be applying for community preservation funds now to have them looked at in the fall. So if you're somebody that needs, like first and last month's rent or something like that, there's no way they can get to community preservation. So it's not overlapping, those are just other things that they can do without having to go to town meeting.
Yeah, once the money's put in their account, they have, pretty much open to whatever they want to do.
Sandy
in
and
that
I,
area.
Sandy and I were on it together.
But there's been no
Yeah.
movement in that account.
Right.
Well, I think that's the quorum issue,
It's not a quorum issue, I
well,
think.
not anymore.
I think the town really, people in town don't know it exists.
There's a few that we've gone through us for the last 2 years. I didn't know they existed,
Well, that's part of the problem, is communications with the public.
but we do have a plethora of them also.
And on that note too, as Brenda just mentioned, that you have to plan ahead for the use of the CPC funds, but like we said, like I pointed out, they have 60 grand already earmarked that can go towards whatever projects they're doing. So it's already set, and they can continue doing the same thing
Yeah.
to keep that money earmarked and go through.
They have had membership problems.
Yeah, so we'll talk to him when he returns and we'll go from there.
Yes. Next number is number 19. It's a petitioned article.
Moratorium on
Yes,
the solar, yep.
So 18, we're just bringing them back.
yes.
Okay.
In 19, it's a petitioned article, the rest of them are all petition. Typically, we refer, however, if we have strong feelings on an issue, we have in the past made a comment. What is your wish, just to refer, motion to refer?
I'd like to speak to this a little bit because this is something I've been looking at
Certainly.
last few days especially. And I know that there is a bylaw, a new bylaw, solar bylaw, that is going to be before the town meeting. I have read the AG's opinion on the last bylaw, and I believe that the AG's opinion telegraphs you should do a moratorium. You should do a moratorium. We like a moratorium. And I think it's because this is an area of law that is very uncertain at the moment. I think knowing how to create the right bylaw, I know there's been a lot of work that's gone into this. I think people have been trying very hard to get this right, and the goalposts have been moved a little bit. And I think probably the best course of action is both the bylaws and a moratorium. So I would vote to recommend it.
I'll second that for
The
discussion.
laws that we have on the books on the state level were written back in the 1980s,
Right.
when businesses saw solar as an income producer, and they took the advantage, of course. The towns, as Alan will know, you can grow old before they actually are aware of something in trends, and they should make bylaws to accommodate them or protect them. And what we're trying to do is catch up to some very skillful people,
That's right.
knew exactly what they were doing. And the state is creating their own bylaw. So it may or may not, our own bylaw may or may not conflict with that, but I agree with you, with Norma's comments, that yes, it was certainly implied that a moratorium would be the more sensible thing, considering the complexity of the issue. And so, I agree with Norma. I feel strongly enough that I would suggest that the committee take a vote on this versus.
There's been a motion and a second.
Am I catching up?
I did that.
Yeah,
That's why I kind of jumped in. I came up with the program. Yeah, no, last night was funny. The selectmen, they were talking about it right away up off of where the maintenance building is and all, but they want to put some solar panels in back there.
Yes.
And I'm saying, boy, they're not leaving a piece of land without them, it seems like, so, yeah.
And we have so much land down here that is cheap.
That's right.
And I just want to point out too that this article isn't about making the change or stopping anything, making the changes right this moment. This is giving a chance for a committee that the town
Catch up.
created to get the bylaws in place and putting a stop to anyone.
Just slowing things down.
Right, it's slowing it down long enough for the town to take control of it.
And to get some certainty about what is
Of
gonna
what-
pass muster.
correct.
I mean, that's a huge thing. We can't do anything that the AG doesn't,
Correct.
or a court doesn't approve. And there is a court opinion that's pending.
And we've got court cases coming up right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, I interpret the motion to be in support of,
To recommend, yep.
Yes.
in support of. I think the phraseology,
Okay.
because it's a petition article, in support of.
It's
Love
English.
you,
I
Tom.
so move.
Second.
Motion made and
Third.
seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Would you like a volunteer to write that one up?
701.
I'll take it.
710. Dominic, you said opposed, correct?
Yes, I am.
So I have 710. Everyone agree to that number? Anyone care to write the supportive dialogue?
Matt has
I'll take
volunteered.
this one.
Matt? I didn't get someone's support for 15, 16, and 17, but I think they're self-explanatory. That would be the pump station, transfer of the school, and the other force main of the Narrows.
You need,
If someone would like to
15,
volunteer,
16.
certainly.
I'll take all three. So 15, 16, 17, and 19.
Gee, David, we're gonna have an easy time that night.
What about 14? Does anybody have that one?
That's a housekeeping.
Okay.
Housekeeping. Okay, next one is Article 20, another petition article. It's the move to approve the already approved, this was Brenda's, and
Okay, this
I
was,
believe when she originally presented to us, her initial proposal, which was a petitioned article, was approved, but I believe the AG had suggested some additional pieces to your original article.
It was approved that it followed, that it complied with Mass General Law, and, but they said that we may want to just make sure the definitions coincided so that it would be in compliance with DHCD, so that we have like how many square feet it needs to be and what the definition, like I was using affordable housing and they use low to moderate income housing, so I had to say affordable housing, meaning low to moderate income housing is DHCD guidelines, that type of thing.
Right.
So, I went over it with, Raiko Hayashi, who is the director of DHCD for the WIP programs, and I don't have it with me, but I do have emails from her that it is, that the zoning is in conformance, with their requirements.
Motion to refer?
May I ask a question? How did we get to the Attorney General's office to find that some of our verbiage wasn't right? I mean, what happens to the process?
Automatically.
Huh?
They automatically go to the AG's office. They automatically go up to the AG's
I
office.
understand that, but the AG was using they didn't invent some new words that we should be using, right?
No, Tom, does the AG approve Brenda's article? What they said was that
There were some terms in there that weren't,
it wasn't really.
On
what it
the
was,
solar.
The comment was that they did not believe
If you write it,
that
I
the
would wanna put
HCD
2 cents in,
would
that'd be the
approve
negative
them to
vote.
go on the SHI
Send me
list.
what you
That
got.
is not what they
Yeah,
said.
well,
They
let
said
me-
that it may
I'll
not.
read what you got, and then I'll.
That they want us to
Send me
confirm
what you got.
with the
I'm
HCD
definitely, I
that
definitely
what
wanna
we
hear
were
your,
saying would
cause
comply.
I'd like to get your, cause
The
I don't,
basic problem was.
you didn't voice
they
anything, so
basically said that
if
they
you wanna
didn't
just,
tell David to
Yeah,
go
I
on
just
it.
wanna,
And
if you wanna
therefore
just throw
they
something up,
decided
or,
I will,
that-
I'll
or
write.
we'll, we can
Guys.
have to.
She's fine.
but this first came up, what, a year and a half ago?
June of last year at the Springtown meeting.
And just administratively, we're a year and a half later, and we still haven't got the damn thing through. I just don't, I wanna understand why it,
The article gets submitted.
Huh?
If an article is not a charter article or a zoning bylaw article, those go to the House and Senate if they're a charter article or a zoning bylaw article. The selectman's office sends it to the two places. Each one of them has their own set of lawyers, and it depends when they get it, and it depends on the issue. If the issues are really difficult, the AGs have their own lawyers in each part of the legislative government. This one here took a long time to get back and forth. They asked for, how many extensions?
2 extensions,
Yeah.
and they completed it because it's such a unique article, they had nothing to compare it with. Usually they can pull, oh, Lexington did this, and they can look, but no, I didn't copy anyone, I created it myself. So they had to go through every
Peace.
regulation, every piece to make sure I wasn't violating the
Mass general law.
Constitution or Mass General laws.
So, and that's what's gonna happen. I mean, I know for Brenda's article, and there's 2 other articles that were recently submitted that were slow getting there. I call both the senator and, basically Pacheco and give it, how are they coming along? That's because if not, they can just sit there and, I think there's 2 articles now that are in the 3rd reading or something for each organization. So it's supposed to take 90 days to up to 6 months, depending what it is. But they can extend it as long as they want, and this is what's happened. And we have 2 other, you had the article last time passed about the changes in the charter, which is mostly definitions. It still hasn't gone through yet.
No.
It's in the 3rd reading, and there was another one for, about Peter Dunlop's article for the selectmen not being able, limiting the selectmen's ability to stop articles going in the warrant. And if I hadn't called on those 2 to find out what was going on, I didn't even realize they hadn't got submitted for a long time, because the wording was, Bernie, was that it didn't say the selectmen shall submit it.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not gonna say what I think about that.
I won't either then.
I don't wanna get in trouble with everybody. But it's not a loose system, but the problem is that when you get into zoning articles and charter articles, it has to go to the House and the Senate, which means they go through different readings, they have their own set of lawyers.
You're at their
They get
mercy.
together with a joint meeting, they make the changes that are acceptable, and then it goes back and has to be voted each one, and that could take a year sometimes.
taken more than a year in this one.
No, I submitted it March 2nd last year. That was the last day for the warrant. And then because of COVID, correct me if I'm wrong, but we ended up pushing it out until twice. We had to push it out until June. So that's why you've heard about it for a year. But we only voted on it in June, and then they took 2 delays, and we got it in December. And I corrected all the changes.
But it's still got another hurdle it's gotta get through, right?
No, gotta go through that all over again.
Yeah.
So this is just clarifying
But I think
what we
this-
voted to approve before.
It
Right.
should be easier this time simply because they have the existing one that they approved, with the what they have issues with. I'm hoping somebody between the Attorney General's office and DHCD actually talks to each other, so there's none of this. And when an article goes back with that gray area, that DHCD may not count as SHI, compatible for our numbers, then everybody gets all upset because we passed the article based on these would be in our affordable list.
And actually, the issue with this is actually even much more minor, is that it's the Board of Selectmen that have to agree to these lips, that they have to fall in, and it says, and I didn't mean to get upset earlier, but it says that they shall count, which means they are required to count on it. So the selectmen would just deny anything that didn't satisfied
okay.
right now. I mean, from June until this approves. I do have people that are waiting, and I have asked them to wait until after it gets approved, so that we don't have any juggling or whatever, so.
Okay,
Okay, and, there is one more of mine that's coming up, and I just wanted to say that I'm going to be writing to the moderator and the board of selectmen that I'm gonna be withdrawing it, which is the town clerk one, because it has to go on the ballot anyway, so it's, I think you said it, Jody, that it was premature to do it, so I'm not gonna do it. So I will be writing to them to withdraw it.
What number's that, Bertie?
Within the next couple.
25.
That's what I was waiting for, to get to the
Oh,
top.
25 is withdrawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
You messed up my schedule for the candidates night.
It's going to be withdrawn, but it's not yet. So anything
So
can
we'd have to
happen
write
between
that
now and
to-
town
yeah,
meeting.
right.
All right, so we're on 20.
Article 20. Motion to refer?
Can we
Can-
refer
can I-
20, 21, and 22 all together?
Can I just say,
Certainly.
on this sheet here, you have listed Article 20 bylaw amendment,
Yes.
okay? But in the published warrant, bylaw amendment, Article 20 talks about the changing of the town meeting date to Saturday.
No, Article 20.
Article 20, regular meeting, right here I have it, bylaw amendment,
It's a bylaw amendment, yes. Well,
okay,
that's-
talks about Saturday.
Get you up here.
I'm looking right now because I have,
Okay, this is the, I believe this is what's published on the town website. Article 20 bylaw amendment talking about Springtown meeting.
Okay,
Whereas, right now, we just talked to Brenda about, and that, I believe, is warrant Article 26 under local initiative.
nope, I have Article 20, and this is the petition, move to accept the changes made to the already approved zoning article shown in bold, so all units created under the bylaw will be eligible to count towards the town's subsidized housing, and the rest of it right here as submitted.
Okay, I've just got it.
Article 20.
Town bylaw.
Is that an apple? Sure it is, no wonder it's wrong.
Hey,
was that off the email? No.
It's on a town warrant.
Okay, that's off.
I'm all team Apple.
I just,
Right?
Springtown meeting.
You're right. Oh, you don't have it with you.
It is an apple, so.
Enough said.
It's gotta be
It's
right.
not a HP, okay? Okay, right, no.
Yes, look at
We-
the
we
HP
make
next to you, they
allowances.
have it right.
That's right. Well, it's right on my Apple. I don't know what the
Okay.
problem is.
It is Article 20.
Yes, this is the
That's
one
what
I'm
I've got.
Can I have a motion to refer?
Motion made to refer.
May I have a second?
Second.
No longer discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's unanimous.
I move Article 21, we refer to town
Who-
meeting.
No, I need a volunteer yet. I need a victim.
I'll do it.
Thank you, Norma. Okay, Jody, you wanted 21, 22.
Yeah, stop there, yeah, we get the Deacon's one.
Article 20, Springtown meeting, okay.
I move we refer to Articles 21 and 22 to town meeting.
Second.
Motion made and second to refer Articles 21 and 22.
Right here, this is what we talk about.
Any discussion?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. What are we doing?
Since those are both about the operation of town meeting, it makes sense for town meeting to determine how they wanna run it.
Yes. We're making a referral. Any further discussion on 21 and 22? Being done, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone like to write these two? No, you don't have to. These are refers. These are just refers.
And that we're talking
I'll
about,
do them then.
Now, the Deacon's Steering Committee, 23.
Think we were gonna wait for next week?
Yep.
Did we say we wait? No, they don't have to come back next week.
No, they don't have to come
No.
back.
You have to
They're
come
gonna-
back
more
and say we're gonna
information.
wait and vote next week.
Right.
She was
Right.
going to a meeting, she wanted to see what. I think
What their vote was, they were
Okay.
gonna send us what their vote is.
Okay. Actually, Article 24, my personal opinion, they don't belong before us. They're completely executive department activities. Nothing to do with us. We don't have any decision-making necessary. There's no appropriations, no policy, nothing. So it really doesn't belong before us, but then again, it's here. The local initiative is the last one. 26. I call it local initiative. To move the town meeting to the fourth Saturday of April and the fourth Saturday of October.
Move to refer to town meeting.
Second.
And we'll take the petitioner on 25 at her word. Thank you, Brenda.
Should we vote on 26? That's refer to town meeting?
That's what we did.
We did.
We did vote,
We haven't
okay.
voted yet.
All right.
We didn't vote.
No, we didn't vote.
We didn't vote.
Moved
I don't
and
think we
seconded.
voted.
No,
Moved
we
and
didn't vote.
seconded.
Motion to refer and any further discussion on 26? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up is a special.
Can I ask go back and ask one quick question? So the town clerk article has been withdrawn. They still have to go ahead with the election because it hasn't.
Because it hasn't been approved yet.
Yes.
Okay, I just trying to get it straight in my head. That's all.
Still waiting for the House and Senate.
Correct. Yeah, I do that. That's-
Yeah, what is it,
We're the
on
same.
Third reading or something now? Is that correct?
As of 2 weeks ago, was on the third hearing.
Yeah.
Claire, are we gonna have clickers?
No, I've asked, we could use the opera money and other money for it, but there's been no movement to do it.
And again, we don't know how many, too.
I've spent the last 4 years asking for it. That's all I can do.
Well, I
I
mean,
have magic wand.
it's makes it more efficient. You've got people who don't come to town meeting because they don't wanna see raising their card on things that get offended. Just seems like it's a bad decision.
He's speaking to the
Don't have to
choir.
have signatures or
Yeah,
something
the
else,
choir.
question of towns?
Okay, articles,
We loved it.
the articles on the special town meeting are prefixed with an S at the suggestion of the town clerk, so that there will be removing any confusion when you're looking up an article, that you can identify which meeting it was held at. So Article 1 through 4 are money articles, and we'll hopefully see Derek next week. Article 5 is a housekeeping article. This is where we transfer the monies that we receive from Comcast and Xfinity to WCTV for their operations. But they're required to give it to the town has to transfer it to them so they can operate.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's made and second. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? Article S6, which is CPC, it's come over a housekeeping article, that they have returned unused funds for a project.
Move to recommend.
Motion's made and seconded. This is for Lopes Field Play Area, an engineering plan. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote. S7 is the beach mobility access mats. May I have a motion to approve?
Move to
Motion.
approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and
Third.
seconded. Any other discussion?
Bernie, are we writing, for the special also?
Yes.
What number's that?
Seven?
7.
I'll do that
S7?
one. S7, I'll do it.
Okay.
We still need to vote.
May I have a motion? I have a motion to second it. Any other discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A vote. S8 is the Tremont Nail remediation. This is where the CPC is paying for the cleanup. I'm not sure they're done or not. They're very close to being done, though. They had sensors in the ground, tested it all. We didn't have to dig anything out.
Move to recommend.
Wait a minute, there's no money involved here?
There is.
Yes, there is, but it's a yearly fund.
Yeah, it's a yearly
Pardon me?
payment.
It's yearly that they're doing the sum of
Oh, this is
30,000.
35,000.
Yeah, 35,000 for the
Yeah,
debt
okay.
payment.
We're almost done with that, though. This,
I believe they are. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
it's better that way.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any other discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That involved the extra money beyond what the original approval was, right?
No.
No, this is for,
They're
This is
paying the
to,
debt and interest.
this is where they're checking the ground and stuff like
Yes.
that?
They borrowed money and the
And they
CPC,
needed more money.
I don't recall that.
Just to
that-
pay the
I- I-
loan.
This appropriation.
but it had already been approved.
Huh?
It's already been approved. They're not asking for more money now. This is just paying down the debt.
The original was like $160,000 or something like that.
Yes.
And that didn't cover it because they've run into some more things. And if we improved if we improved the second bite,
I don't recall that, yeah.
I believe, I'm probably gonna be wrong. I believe what it is we got a grant, like a Mass Works grant, because that's what those
okay,
things
so
are for.
it's no longer an extra
So the
report.
Mass Works grant doesn't cover the whole thing. I think it was $250,000 for the, if I remember, right, somewhere in that range for the project. And we got X number of dollars, and CPC, I think, we used their money to cover the balance.
Well, that ought to be covered in how we explain this thing, because
Well, this is,
it's.
It's just
it-
payment
from
for
what
a
you-
loan.
Yeah.
I got, from what you just said, is that we're gonna get $250,000 to cover.
no.
No.
We'd already approved.
No, that was the cost originally to do it, and we got like X number of dollars on a Mass Works grant. Mass Works grants you have to pay back. They're not free.
So this,
There's no interest.
And there's, CCC funds are gonna pay it back.
CPC was the.
And
it
the
was voted.
original amount approved was something
X
like,
number of dollars, and you're paying back on a yearly basis.
This is the same as we paid last year, Tommy. It's the same
probably-
payment every year.
it isn't the $8 million that we started out with. This is just to do the ground.
Remediation for the
approval
ground.
of the-
Right.
Any,
Yeah, because you have to do that before you go and basically hire someone to go and develop that property.
I understand,
It's-
but
it's
not before you
straightforward.
buy it.
21E.
I
Need to pass the 20,
didn't vote for it, so.
need to pass the 21E.
Yeah, blame me on that one.
The,
Okay, S9,
let's come back and put a cap on this for me. How much money is involved here?
35.
I don't recall, Tom, I don't have that kind of information. It's been going on for a couple of years. It's,
This is
if
just
you
a
read
payment.
this, it says,
Just the
the
payment.
sum of $35,000 for short-term debt principal payment on the bond approved in the 2018 Fall Town Meeting, Article 11.
Uh-huh.
So this is paying off the bond that we approved back in
Okay, so
2018.
it's a prior, we're paying off a prior approval. On
Yes.
the basis of a prior.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
It's a borrowing, so probably a 10-year, I'm gonna estimate 10-year borrowing, so
Hmm.
you may be looking at $350,000 including interest, just to throw it
Yeah.
out there.
Gotcha.
okay, moving on to S9.
Do we want to vote on?
Oh,
Didn't we?
the remediation.
We did, I'm sorry.
We did.
I'm sorry. S9.
S9, Harbor Services permit receipts reserved for appropriation. I have to look that up.
Mhm. This is $4,000 from the Harbor Services permits receipts. So there's no impact on the tax bill on this. This is just letting them use it for maintenance and improvements.
So S9 and S10 are both transfers from the harbor service permits
Yes.
reserved for appropriations account to maintenance, so they're both
Wait
the
a
same.
minute.
Yeah, so we've
You,
got,
you had mentioned this before,
correct.
and it's a duplication.
Is
Looks
it-
like
Is it
S10.
three-part duplication?
The,
Because,
the amount they're requesting is exact. This is
On-
4,000 and then 4,375, and on the annual meeting,
it was 4375 was one.
4,375 and 4,000 again. So this is duplication, and it doesn't refer to as being, dockage fees.
So,
We have to
on-
clarify this.
Yeah.
We can't
Yeah.
do that, yeah.
Yeah, so then that's gonna go back to, Article 14 then, because you had said it was only 4375. But
I
are they
thought
asking
there were
for
two-
80?
I
Are they
thought-
asking for 8375?
Twice?
We don't
I
know,
am-
we don't know, because
Yeah,
it
we need
is
a
a duplication.
Okay, so we need some clarifications on that one.
Yep,
Should we rescind our vote from that one, for 14?
we didn't take a
We
vote
didn't
on
vote
it.
on it. Well, we
No.
voted on 14.
We did
9
vote
and
on
10
14.
is a legitimate request. If this is a duplicate request, we assume we need clarification on it.
Right.
Right,
But the original request is legitimate.
but is the amount of 4375 correct on Article 14? Or is it
We have to
8375?
assume, because that's what's printed in the warrant.
So,
We just need to,
so we need to clarify
Tree that
S9,
up
S10,
somehow.
and whether or not
Yeah.
one of those is done.
Mm.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure, you're
Okay,
okay?
I am going bald here. Yeah, but, okay, all right, I got you.
Article 11.
Rescind.
To see if the town will rescind the town's prior affirmative vote on Article 26 at the 2021 annual Springtown meeting and delete sections 830 through 844 of Section 8 of the Wareham zoning bylaws.
somebody has to explain this to me.
That deletes all of Brenda's article.
And that's the one that we just,
Yes,
Needs
we
to
were
be
just
correct.
discussing.
The one that I've been working on.
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
that
okay.
one.
I think my question on this one is are they doing this because when she resubmits it, it's gonna take its place?
Nope.
Or does he just wanna get rid of it?
He just wants to get rid of it.
Peter wants to get rid of it because it's in his opinion, as he said last night, I'm only repeating, that there's no sense to have this article when it doesn't contribute at all to our 10% of affordable housing.
But it does.
But it,
He will.
yeah, the way I'm understanding is it does.
I would say motion to refer. Because we're, in the same, we're trying to complete the article originally submitted by Brenda, and we approved that.
So then why
But
should,
if we get-
This,
why
we
shouldn't we shoot this down?
What if we get inconsistent, with, if both of them pass, then we've got inconsistent decisions.
That's why we
I
should
think if
vote
we're
it
making,
down.
if we're
If
making
you're
a
gonna vote for
recommendation.
the first one, you should vote this
Yeah.
one down.
I-
Give the public something to rely on, sink their teeth into.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I may, if this, because the special town meeting warrant goes before the regular town meeting warrant, if they vote this one down, then my bylaw doesn't exist, so the one for the regular one that we were just talking about, that would just have to be withdrawn, because it wouldn't exist. to-
I would suggest a motion to refer so that we could bring this up for discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Explain what you're doing, Bernie, please, I didn't get that.
Yeah,
To refer, so that purposes of bringing it on the floor as for a discussion,
And we,
You're referring it to town meeting?
yes.
That, okay.
It's on the warrant no matter
So if
what.
this doesn't
I know it's on the
pass-
warrant, but hear me out, just hear me out for 1 second. People look at us as information, not just financial, but all information on all of them, okay? We approved the one on the regular warrant for this article. So referring this to discussion on town meeting, then we should have done that with the first one. You either accept one and turn one down, you don't accept one and refer the other. It's a contradiction, guys, I'm sorry.
Well, that's why we're not making an motion, we're gonna
But
refer.
you made a decision on the first one. Either you refer them both, or you do one and against the other. You can't
I see where
vote
he's
for
coming.
one and refer the other. It makes sense, I mean,
I actually, I do
I don't
see
care
where
what
he's-
the article says.
I do see
I'm
where
talking
he's
about
coming
any
from.
article.
I do see where
You're
he's coming
not, you're
from.
not doing it right, Bertie, or,
Okay, no,
it's just an opinion. I don't care what the articles say.
no, I see,
You can't.
you make a valid point.
Okay,
He does.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Any other
Yeah.
discussion, concerns, questions?
So you're saying we should rescind the motion to refer?
On the first,
Or
turn
vote this one down.
Vote this one down.
Yeah. I think we should vote this one down.
That's my opinion too.
yeah,
So we have to make the motion in a positive manner, so
Okay, so.
I move that we approve S 26.
And then-
I'm sorry, S 11.
that's
And then you
11.
take a vote.
Second.
Motion's made and second. Under the circumstances,
Well, this
ask the
is,
clerk call the roll.
Tom,
which one is this?
This is,
Yes,
This is
S11.
S 11.
S11.
Turning it down.
Which,
A
Again.
yes vote would rescind the,
on
yes, an S,
an
a
S11?
yes vote will rescind the article, a no vote.
Okay,
We'll
that's
turn the
on
article down.
26, okay, that's not, unfortunately, again, there's a confusion over what
No,
they,
this is S11.
This is
On the
S
special.
11, which is the
Okay.
opposite of
You're-
26.
We're not addressing 26 as yet.
Wasn't S11 the Ken Buckland article?
I have the one from,
No, S 11 is rescind
Okay.
article.
that I sent everyone
That's,
today.
that's rescind
Okay,
article
this one I
26.
got
Yeah, that-
yesterday, so it's the old one,
Yeah, I
I'm
got
sorry.
I got
This
the
is the one
rescind
that
one
came
as
through
Article
today.
12.
This is
You
what
got
they
the-
they sent
you
us
get
I've got
today.
it as
You
11.
gotta keep up with this
I
stuff,
know.
guys.
Yeah,
This is
It's-
the one I got
S12
yesterday.
is
Well, this is
WHCP.
today.
okay, this
Or
was
maybe it
yesterday, so,
But it's-
okay,
Don't forget the selectmen met last night.
yes, all right,
When they meet, they take the opportunity to screw things up.
all
When
right,
was that sent out?
Today?
I didn't
I think
get
it,
that.
You were
Yesterday.
probably enjoying
Yesterday.
the drilling of the dentist.
It was yesterday.
Oh, that's the MS4, that's not on here.
No, it's today, because they did some changes last night.
He didn't submit
All
it.
right,
Because last night there was not a 16
No.
until
All right.
after their meeting.
Take a vote, Bernie.
all right,
Alright. Well,
okay, so 11 is rescind the Article 26,
Right.
all right.
No, S11, we're not rescinding it, we're leaving it.
The article is to rescind, and we are gonna vote. There's a
No, we're
motion.
talking about, the one I have on the floor now is S11.
Correct.
right.
It's rescind Article 26 of the,
That's what
2021
that's what it
annual
says it wants to
So
do.
We're
you-
gonna
I
vote
guess-
it- And we're gonna vote it down.
And,
Correct.
but we're gonna
Motion to
vote roll
approve.
call, right?
Hey, clerk, call the roll, please.
Tom,
Try to keep track.
I'm for rescinding this article,
so you,
You're a yes.
yes.
Right, but I believe he voted.
Rescinding
Okay.
the-
right, a yes will rescind it. Jody?
Yes.
No.
No.
no,
No.
Mama, no.
I'm a no.
And I'm a no.
Okay. So we have
6 to 2.
6 to 6, 0.
I'm still totally confused as to the reasonings behind some of this, but that's okay.
wait a minute, what is the count on this?
620.
6-2.
2 to
Well,
rescind,
2 for, 6
4
against.
against.
4 against.
Yes.
2 for, 4 against.
No.
That's very
Oh.
confusing.
No.
No, 2 for, 6
against.
against.
Yeah, 2 for, 6 against.
240.
260.
Getting
2,
late.
6,
260.
0.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
260.
It's late.
Excuse me, only the clerk does the counting.
Well, we saw how well he does.
All right,
You just
Gary,
let us
you
know.
want
when
me
you
to talk to you like that? I got your back. Come on now. I know he's bigger than you, but I got your back.
It's okay.
That's why you're not my friend anymore.
Oh, okay.
Do we need to write this one up?
Yes, we do.
I'll take that.
Ooh, oh, great, Norma. You're really getting yourself ingratiated in here.
I'm gonna miss next week's meeting, so I feel like I need to pitch in right now.
We would have volunteered you next week anyway, so.
At your own
S12, modify the quorum requirement. It seems practical. I think they got 7 members.
risk. Yes.
And bring it down. They're changing their membership to 5, so it'll go back down to a quorum of 3.
Vote to
Motion to
recommend.
approve.
Board of Selectmen voted, I think 5-0.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now, This is also a Wareham Historical Commission.
Now, this is Article 13 we just voted on?
No, we just voted as 12.
That was
So
It used to be
13.
13.
You got it.
Right.
The first one was Wareham Historical District Commission. Now we have the Wareham Historical Commission. Not to be confused with the Wareham Historical Society.
All right.
Selectmen voted 5-0, so.
Motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? Same situation with the previous one and getting them down to a manageable number. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So vote, thank you.
Bernie, I have a question on that. I have not received my copy of the special, but in the draft that I got, you may have to make an adjustment because it doesn't say what committee you're adjusting. It does say that
which
it
one
was
you talking
decided by
about?
the historical commission, but it says to see if the town will vote to reduce the number of members from 7 to 5 on what?
It's in the title. Does the title matter?
Modify
It says
quorum requirement.
It
WHC.
just says WHC, it doesn't spell it
I
out,
guess
and that could
it
be
doesn't
anything,
spell it right.
so.
You're right. You're
And
right.
it doesn't say it until the
motion is
inserted.
gonna have to adjust that.
Wareham Hatters.
It would
Yes.
just have to be the one who does all the writing of motions will have to do it, won't he?
Yes.
But just make a note.
You're right.
Yep.
Very good point.
Can't believe you catch it either.
It's just Scrivener's error.
But again. Okay, that's 14.
Move to recommend.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. This is a 30-year lease plus 2 options for additional 30 and 30, total 90 years. Question last night was if it's legal at a 30, and the town attorney said yes.
And that it's fairly standard commercial language.
There it is.
This is Article 15?
14.
That's 14.
Lease term.
Oh, I believe you, but I'm looking at this and looking at this.
Now, Jody, we started, you said you spent a half the day in the dental chair. This is probably when it came over. Didn't you bring your tablet with you?
They have changed the numbers, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't
All right.
get anything today.
Length
It
of
went
lease. All right,
That's no
so,
excuse.
So we need a vote now.
yep.
Do
Motion and
we have a
second.
developer?
But I got put it
They
on
have
the-
one, yes.
Oh, they do?
Yes. But no plan.
That's his purpose.
What?
That's his purpose. They have preliminaries, but they have a purpose now, with gentlemen to implement his proposal.
So you just got one developer looking at the thing, we don't have,
With an I presume an RFP.
huh?
I presume an RFP. I have Peter down here. Would you like him? We haven't heard that, which by the way, I'm premature. I apologize. We should not be looking at this to vote because we have not heard from Peter or the redevelopment authority.
Right.
Yeah, to sign up for 90 years with somebody we don't even know anything about this.
Then I'll withdraw my second.
Thank you. My apologies.
Selectmen did approve it, though, right?
No, we need to
Selectmen approved it last night.
no,
Yeah, we have-
withdraw your motion.
I withdraw my
open.
motion.
Okay, next one is S15,
Have we seen these bylaws?
which is the solar bylaw. Yes, she was here. Let's see, no, excuse me, no, this is another one.
No.
We have to see next week because this is the solar bylaw committee,
Yep,
the moratorium that was
Just-
referred
may
to
have just
earlier.
approved them.
right.
For
And,
your information on the solar bylaw,
yes,
Nancy McHale, I had asked them to submit the bylaw to the town council to go through, because it's really a shame when we do have groups that are not lawyers, et cetera, don't understand terminology as
It's the last one, right?
things to make sure it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
it's the
a
last
town committee, it's
Thank
okay
you.
to do that.
No problem.
And, Well, and came back and they gave
Good, you always have spares on.
I come from work, and sometimes I get lucky, I'm here.
We'd like to get a copy of that letter.
I'll ask him to send the finance committee.
Please.
Yes.
Okay, the last one we have is S16, and that's adding revolving accounts. This was added yesterday.
Okay, I don't
Yeah, I
have,
have
Last
I don't
minute
even
by
have
the
that one.
request. No, you don't. No, I printed it out. It's adding two funds. One is the Little Harbor Golf Course. These are revolving funds with a spending limit of 1 million. They have no idea, so they've, Derek has suggested an extraordinarily high amount, of course, and that's its only purpose. In order to get this underway, he has to have that in a revolving fund, so that they can go forward with it.
Bernie, that's the cap for a revolving fund.
Indeed,
Okay,
yes,
so he can't go any higher anyway.
Correct.
That's the cap. Okay.
So one's for LHAC and the other one,
the Degas facility, that's 750,000. Again, having no idea what the town meeting may want to do regarding the Degas property, he's had to put in there a large amount to take care of any contingencies.
okay.
Will Dennis be here next week, perhaps,
not an
present
appropriation of
these
money.
to us?
Yes. Or we could, no, we could vote them, because it's simply a,
It's just whether we use the account or not, it's just to create the account.
yeah.
Motion to approve.
Is everybody comfortable with that? We will be having, I hope, Derek here next week anyway, so if you do want to hold off on it and ask them.
I'd like to hold off.
Okay.
I think that's better.
All right,
Okay.
I withdraw my motion.
Okay, very good.
Wish I knew that before I went into these poor people asking about your revolving account.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
No, that, they're somewhat confused as to the legislative and executive responsibilities and what we can accomplish. And what they're doing as far as renting, talking about RFPs and all, has nothing to do with our side, that it's executive. And it's totally Derek's condition. Derek has been generous in talking with them, but when they do say that Derek has said this or that, it is probably, is in the course of a conversation, not in the course of a decision.
So, we have anything else?
Next week, we have the solar bylaw, we have the review of the school budget, and we'll hopefully have our money articles.
I want to
don't
try to
think-
get housing trust back in front of us, to get Jim back in front of us again.
Well, yes, I made a note of that. It's, we go through this every year, they've got, and this is why I do not vote on the same week. I don't have us do that, because you have a week to think about it, and then you come up with some ideas.
Questions?
That way it's already taken care of, and we don't have to do that.
Hey,
By all means, if
I
you
have a
have,
question for you.
yes,
The community events, do we get print out who they give money to?
Community Events Committee?
I don't recall,
We
I
can
went through
ask
all
them.
my stuff and I've never seen it.
No,
No.
we're not required to do it.
No.
It's in the, did they submit an annual report?
We probably, have to see if Lori Benson does a report on the town, annual report.
I'll take a,
I'm on the committee, we basically, we get $45,000 a year between the parking and the hotel and motel tax money. It was, town meeting passed it, and then they capped it because there's issues with the language. So, what we plan on doing is spending up to $45,000 a year to people who are nonprofits. We don't supply money to anybody that's running an event that's making a profit. Bring other events to town, and we can do other, actually, Claire mentioned the voting clickers, which we could rent, because I don't think you wanna buy them, but this is my opinion. We had offered to go ahead because it's for tourism, or to make things in town work better per se.
Yeah.
The committee actually, what was the planner before, Sal? It was Sal, right? Planner before Ken.
Yes.
Yeah, Sal actually came before CEC to ask for like $50,000 for the ornamental lights on it. And Rich Bowen said, well, it's a stretch of the wording, but yeah, you can spend the money. So there's different things we can do with it. So, but we do approximately 45,000. We give money to the fireworks, et cetera. We've just received yesterday, a meeting on Monday, OBA and several other organizations have actually sent their requests. And so we fund like advertising expenses, flyers, pamphlets, whatever we can do to help them out.
When he refers to the fireworks, few people know that actually the town subsidizes that. Because he comes out with a lot of advertising from onset, and they certainly deserve it. But there's few money sneaks in there from the town too.
Is it right, we're not having the fireworks this year?
I think the OBA's decided, it's not because of the money.
Because of
Because
police.
we had John Deacons give us $25,000
No police.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I suggested to OBA that we take $5,000 a year, so we don't do one shot, lose it. And then usually the,
We just don't-
community will put up to $15,000 a year into that as well. And then he'll raise money, et cetera, but, because there's no summer police, I think the police department, decided that they weren't gonna have anybody available for it, so therefore there's less
Right.
majority can't do it.
They're trying to bring
Gotta do
it
some
back
other
to
kind of
Harvest
events instead
Moon
of-
or something.
Yeah.
Are they trying to get the fireworks for Harvest Moon or something?
That's what I saw.
Yeah,
Harvest Moon.
they were talking about a fire in September or
Bonfire
October.
or
Bonfire
something.
fireworks
Bonfire
in September.
beaches.
Yes.
Yeah,
But when you talk about the money for the fireworks and stuff, that's kind of what I was looking for, because it's been an ugly couple days on social media. You know,
When is it
and
not?
I don't like to, I can insert my foot enough into my mouth, but I mean, I like to deal with facts. It's just been, I just thought very ugly stuff going around.
My comment is to make everybody happy, that they should take Facebook, Messenger, and everybody
And
should
burn
just
it.
look at your phone and remove the apps and everybody get out of it. I don't know about anybody else, but I've been hacked 9 times in a year.
Jeez,
And it's not because I'm not doing it right.
yeah.
It's because when you go on there and you answer something you think is okay, they're actually scamming your piece. And
Be very careful.
Facebook can control it, they don't, and therefore we all suffer.
Hmm.
And obviously, nobody bothers to sit there and actually put the real truth out there.
Well, oftentimes it's, they're well-intentioned, they just don't know how it works. There's a process we're required to follow, not that we will like following it.
It's just,
Like Tom says, he's frustrated because something isn't done well.
I mean,
It's a process we go through.
it's frustrating because it's a really nice medium. You talk to friends, people all over the world.
Yeah.
And then people, a minority abuse it. They go in there and I don't know how many of you have got a request from a friend, supposedly it's a friend calling you, hey, I'm so worried, I need some money being sent me, can you send me some money?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't
People
go on
don't
that.
think, and they automatically go ahead and enter it.
Well, I'm sure Claire was, when she was communicating with her friends down in Wareham, that it was a lot cheaper than a long-distance call.
Yep.
You know, you get a friend's request and you're afraid to click on it because 9 times out of 10 it's not a real friend's request.
Or look at this video.
I have a
I saw you
solution.
in this video.
I have a solution to that. Flip phone.
Take
Solution.
No, but just take it out of your system.
I know, I never use it. I
Doesn't
don't know.
use it.
Anyone who wants to put their dirty laundry out there, God bless them.
Are
not
you
me.
still on 3G?
And they were
So
selling
it's
some.
1G.
I just don't answer
I'd like to
anything
make a
if I
motion to
don't
adjourn.
realize it.
Motion made, seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, thank you very much.
Thank
See you next week, guys and gals.
Not me.
Dominic, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
you get-